I'm Dwight Knowlton. I'm a dad and a car guy. I'll tell you, when my son was born, I went looking for the perfect automotive children's book, and I couldn't find it. So I'm creating one. This book is steeped in automotive tradition and racing heritage, and I'm designing it to look the part. It's a father-son barn find story about a 1955 Maserati 300S. Like the project and learn more at facebook.com/The Little Red Racing Car.
This is the Atomic Power Racing Hour, and he too is rolling onto the speedway. We have two onboard cameras for this event, positioned out the back of the 3T of Tim Sears Jr. The other is on Rick Miller's number 98. With sunshine peeking through the clouds, the moisture continues to evaporate out of the surface at a very high rate. Let's see how this group tackles these unique circumstances in this 10-lap event.
Well, 9 cars set to go for this 10-lap event. And drawing the pole position, the 38 of Joe Hall. The last time he was here, he was in a 44 car. Art Halliday returns in the 87. Matt Vanderlinden, and third place from last time, Tim Sears are in row number 2. Jordan Peters and Rick Miller a strong row 3 with Steve Coit. Runner-up from last time, Greg Bellier and Brandon Kidd out of the Syracuse area, rounding out the field. They are double stacked and ready to roll off at turn number 4. Green lights are on and we are underway for heat race number 2. They slip and slide down the front stretch, matriculate through turn 1 and 2. You see Jordan Peters in the 11P get a little sideways in spot number 3 as Joe Hall breaks away from the rest of the field. Rick Miller is found in the quick line down to the bottom of the racetrack as the former modified star goes down to the bottom and takes that spot away. Also moves by Matt Vanderlinden. He is up into second. Rick Miller from 6th up to 2nd on the opening circuit. And now Matt Vanderlinden is going to have to work to hold off Jordan Peters for position number 3. Meanwhile, Rick Miller in the Go Nuclear number 8, quickly closing in on Joe Hall. Hall purchased that car halfway through the season, a different ride than he used the last time he was here at Mohawk. Vanderlinden very loose in the 09, slides up the racetrack. He will hand over spot number 3 to Jordan Peters. But meanwhile, for the race lead, Rick Miller has his car continuing to run right along the rail while Joe Hall washes up the speedway. 2 Central New York drivers duking it out for the top spot. Joe Hall looking for a first heat win. Will Rick Miller down to the inside he goes and is really starting to find some bite in that car. Second in Fulton Speedway points this year for the number 98. And this time by, they will see the cross flags and they will get to halfway in this heat event. That time off at turn number 2, Joe Hall found the good bite off the bottom as the caution comes out. The 87 of Art Halliday and spun around down in the infield on the front stretch and kicked some moisture onto the racing surface.
While we have a break in the action, let's find out more about why some of the drivers have moved into the growing crate late model division in this episode's Question of the Hour.
I like the class. I like the cars, and I like the fact that you can order the parts off the shelf and not have to go searching junkyards for parts and pieces.
I've always liked these cars. I've gone down to West Virginia and watched the Dirt Track World Championship for years, and just really wanted to try them, and so we switched from the 358s to this.
These cars are just awesome to drive. I mean, I like working on them. Everything moves. There's always something you can tinker with.
And we quit racing in about 2000, 2001. Was out of it for 10 years, and then Shane gave me a call, asked me to drive these.
In 2008, I got an opportunity to run the World of Outlaws series, and it was a little bit over my head. I didn't have any clue about these cars. I wish I would have known then what I know now, but I kind of fell in love with them. You know, the cars are good, and the people who are surround late models are real good, and it's a cost factor too.
Well, actually, the guy who owns it decided he wanted to get back in racing again, and that's why I'd be interested in driving. He wanted to go to the top class of Brighton, and that's what we did. We bought a late model and started racing. I enjoy it very much so.
Art Halliday, who caused the last caution, got into the late model division after helping to promote the Brewerton and Fulton speedways. He's got up to the tail of the field just in time for the restart. Let's go back up to Rich.
Since we are not quite halfway through this heat race, the field will once again be double file for the restart. But this time, Rick Miller, instead of starting on the outside of row number 3, is on the outside of the front row. A good start for Joe Hall on the bottom, though. And he takes his number 38 back out in front. And a battle shapes up for the runner-up position. Greg Bellier, who started back in spot number 8, goes down to the inside of Rick Miller, who washes up off of turn number 2 into the loose stuff. Throws up the rooster tail off the second corner, and now is in danger of losing the 3rd position to Matt Vanderlinden. So Greg Bellier, the new driver, on the move. The number 25 that has finished 2nd here, both times he has run at the 4/10 mile oval, on the move, running through the middle of the racetrack. Look at Jordan Peters in the 11P doing some damage up on the top of the speedway. He had fallen back out of a redraw spot, now holds that final coveted position as he looks to get around Matt Vanderlinden. But Brandon Kidd has other ideas. Kidd in the number 14, he started back in position number 9, goes down looking to the inside of Peters for spot number 5. Jordan, along with his father Darren, making the trip from the Southern Ontario region just over the Peace Bridge from Buffalo in Fort Erie. Right now hanging it out on the top of the speedway is that 11P, and Brandon Kidd goes back to the inside. Behind them is Tim Sears Jr. Tim Sears Jr., the winner of the Mohawk late model event in 2011, makes a sweetheart move on the outside of the speedway, puts it up on the berm, and gets around Brandon Kidd for 6th, now going after Jordan Peters for 5th. But remember, this is a battle for starting position number 14 in the feature, and it would not put them inside of the top 12 redraw. That is the goal, the heat race action right now, and Tim Sears Jr. still has some work to do, despite charging up into the top 5. It is the final circuit, and Joe Hall has been out since the drop of the green flag. He's had some different competitors give him chase, but staying on the bottom has been true to form for Joe Hall, as he sees nothing but clean racetrack in front of him the entire time to pick up the win. Greg Bellier, a strong performance to get up to 2nd. Rick Miller moved up as well before falling back to 3rd, and Matt Vanderlinden will also make the redraw. You see Tim Sears Jr. is going to have a long way to get to the front in tonight's feature.
Let's hear more from Joe Hall as Greg Byrosh caught up with them afterwards.
Yeah, the car was handling good. We had a lot of work getting it ready. Sean's put a lot of time and effort into me in the car, and just starting to pay off. Got my first heat win.
Well, it was quick in the heat, but we know there's going to be a lot of racing before you. What's your attack going into the feature event? You know, do you try and predict something? Do you go up and watch at the fence for a while, then make a decision? What's your thought process?
I'm not really sure. Sean's got the car dialed in pretty good. The only plan I got is to stick to the bottom so nobody can get around me.
Congratulations to Joe Hall on his breakthrough win. We've got plenty of race action still to come, including our 3rd heat race of this hour, which is up next on the other side of the break. So park it right here on the Atomic Power Racing Hour.